Good morning, everyone. It is Lori of Mischievous Stitches. It is Sunday. It is July. I have no idea what the date is. I am back already. It's been a short time between videos, but hopefully I can get back on track with keeping it on the weekend. But I couldn't wait to tell you some of the things that's went on over the past few days. I have had a great few days, and one of them starts with you guys, with all the great comments that you guys gave me, the suggestions and the ideas of how to reframe, remat the doily pieces that I thrifted a few weeks ago. So I'm going to tell you, number one, thank you all so very much. I really appreciate it. It's great to throw a question like that out there and see what comes back, and the way that things are looked at from different angles. It's just surprising. Everyone has their own knowledge base. Some comments were from framers, some were from people that had just done this regularly, and others were people like me that had only done it a couple times. But I'm going to let you all know what I took away from it. I have not reframed them yet because I have been in the street. I mean, I have been on the road and have not been home to get these things done. So I was told by Miss Julie McConnell that matting was cheap. There was not to try to glue it, that it may warp. So she suggested I go to Hobby Lobby. So I went in Hobby Lobby with the measurements of the biggest piece and said, okay, how much would this cost? And the framer said $12 to $24 for a piece that size if it's not cut out. It's just a mat board. And I said, okay. She said, but we have these large pieces of mat that you can buy if you have an X-Acto knife, since you're not cutting cutting it out in the center, that you could use yourself. So I walk over, remind you that say a 14 by 14 piece or 16 by 16 was going to be $12 to $24. I got this sheet, won't even fit in the camera, $9.99, that I can cut out myself for that. So I wanted to share that with y'all. Thanks, Julie. I would not have ran into Hobby Lobby without you, so thank you for that. I am torn between how to actually mount the piece on the mat board. Miss Vanna and a few others suggested that I use a chenille needle and sew the piece onto the mat. And the thought of that, knowing how tender my fingers get when I'm beating and jerking at the needle, see how thick that is? It's not really thick, but if you're going through it with a needle, that kind of terrifies me. So I am going to give it a try. But Miss McKenna suggested glue dots, so I picked up a thing of glue dots from the scrapbook section, and they're real small ones. And if the first thing doesn't work, I've got the glue dots for the second thing. So thank you all so much. I'm hoping within the next week or two I am going to have those pieces mounted, and I do kind of want them behind this couch. Now, this is the couch. We did get it this week. We asked the gentleman who had it to leave it outside. My husband and I went and picked it up that same evening because his business closed before we got there, blah, blah, blah. And I wanted it up here. So I am in my craft room, my sewing room, my stitch room, whatever you want to call it. And it's coming together little by little. So today my plans are not to stitch again. My plans are I have an old dresser, and my plans are to sand down and varnish the drawer fronts and the top, and to paint the rest of or paint the sides like a country off-white eggshell. So, and then I'll distress it a little bit from there, but I'm excited about that. That'll give me somewhere to put all my quilting project bag fabrics and my cross-stitch fabrics. I'm hoping to fold them up and have them organized by count. That really excites me. Organizing excites me, as silly as that sounds. Okay. So I do have one other project, and then we'll get to the stitching. I had found for $3 a large cork board like you would put in a schoolroom or at work as a bulletin board, and it's only held together, the frame is only held together by large industrial staples. So I'm hoping to remove those staples, and I am going to spray adhese a large piece of batting and this fabric, which will match in my room perfectly. But if you notice, it's letters, and because I am a postmaster, I look forward to This is just my fabric. Let's just say that. And that's what this room is all about. It's about making it my own. It doesn't matter if things are matchy-matchy. When I'm done, my whole idea is to have little bits of me. My quirkiness, my silliness, my nerdiness, everything. I want little pieces of that reflected in this room, where it is minuscule in the rest of the house, but here it's all me. So anyway, so on Thursday I was off. I had some things that had to be taken care of Thursday. I had some training that day. Anyway, I just had some extra time away from work for a good bit of the day. And I kitted up my next piece that I actually had started on the 4th, which is, hold on, I put my stitch bag out of my reach. This is my stitch bag. This is one of many. I have at least 3 this size, 4 this size. I am a bag lady. I don't know how you all are, but I've seen some of you have baskets. Most of my kitted up things or things I'm working on are in totes like that, because I'm a bag lady. So once I get this room fixed, I'll probably have a doorknob or a back door full of bags, because that's my thing. I'm the Anyway, so I kitted up the piece that I had been teasing Natasha about, who's such a good sport. I love you, Natasha. I have 12 thread boxes full, and I had no 37.77, so I had to go, you know, not that I needed an excuse to go to Hobby Lobby, because I needed to ask about the mat. So while I was getting the mat, I got 37.77 for this. I don't plan on stitching it until I until I finish Speak to the Earth, but I wanted to make a start on it on the 4th of July. So that's all I worked on the 4th of July. And this is what I got done, and this will be the Delaware square. So it's the top left-hand corner square, and it's Delaware. And so that's all I got done. And I'm going to tell you right now, I will have some kind of what you all call a rotation. I don't know that it would be, the correct term would be location, not location, rotation. Did I say location? Rotation. But there's no way I can stitch on a piece this big and get anything else accomplished that, you know, within the next 9 to 12 months. So I'll work on something else in the meantime. But anyway, while I was out, I also needed to when I ran to Hobby Lobby, I need to run to Home Depot to get the paint for the dresser, because that was my weekend project, my weekend goal to complete. And I stopped by the SPCA thrift store. And I'm just walking through, you know, I keep buying frame pieces for the frames, and I need to stop that because, you know, you really need a place to store them. And I run across a box, and it's a large box. It was sitting on the floor under a table, and it was full of cross-stitch magazines. And I said, you know, I walked away from it because I knew no one was going to snap it up in the few minutes I walked away. And I'm thinking, okay, do I need it? How much is it? How many of them will I not have already? You know, the things that go through your mind when you're justifying when I'm justifying a purchase. So I go to the counter and I talk with the girl, and I'm like, okay, how much? And she said, well, generally they're $1, but today we've got all of the magazines, books on sale for half off, so it's 50 cents a piece. It was marked on the outside of the box, 150 cross-stitch magazines. Well, you know, I'm not going to buy all those cross-stitch magazines. So I walked around a little bit more, and I said, well, I'm going to go offer her $15 for the entire box and see if she bites. Get to the counter, the box is right behind me on the floor, and I point to it, and as I'm pointing to it to ask her that, I noticed that $15 is written on the outside of the box. I stopped mid-sentence and said, I want to get that box of magazines. $7.50 for 150 cross-stitch magazines. I did not touch them until last night. And I probably only touched them last night because I had two friends with me yesterday that every time we opened the trunk to put something in, their little hands did like this. So it was important then that I go through that box. They really wanted to come in here and go through them last night when we got back from our trip with me, but that didn't happen because I actually had company waiting here on me. Anyway, so I sorted through them. I had the premiere issue of like 4 magazines. The Just Cross Stitch magazine, the Stitchery magazine. Anyway, they're all down on my dining room table and there are stacks. So last night I actually just looked through the premiere issues. I think what my plan is, I had many duplicates of the Leisure Arts magazine. Now, I was looking for something specific, and so was one of the friends, because as I was waiting on my friends to get here yesterday morning for our trip, I'm watching Miss Julie McConnell's recent video where she's showing a piece that she stitched, you know, years and years ago. I had one similar, and the piece I'm talking about is an old black kettle right beside a pumpkin. And so it's just a stationary picture cross-stitch design. So I was on the hunt for that magazine within that box, and of course it's not there. So I get a text last night. Oh, this is what episode, this is what this is what edition it was in. This is, you know, this is the year. I found it on eBay. There are more. Go get it. So after buying that 150 magazines, I still went out last night. Thank you, Julie. And bought another one so that I could have it. But anyway, so enjoyed looking through those magazines. They're going to keep me happy and in patterns for months and years to come, and occupy my hours over this week looking through them so I can cull through them. And flash back to yesterday morning, there was a stitch planned at the Lexington Library, and Natasha had contacted me about it, and we decided to take off up there with my friend Dawn, the new stitcher, and I'm going to keep calling her that, Dawn, the new stitcher. We decided to go up there and just make a day of it. We planned to stitch for a couple hours, have lunch, visit the Needler, which is the local shop there, and we threw around a lot of different ideas of what to do. I ended up inviting Yvonne to join us as well, and yesterday morning she happened to arrive right as I am pausing Julie's video to run and get, you know, she knocks on the door. Come on in, I've got to go get my notebook. I don't want to forget this pattern. I grabbed my notebook, I ran in the kitchen, and I said, look, she's got, you know, there's a similar pattern that is on a Leisure Arts magazine that Yvonne and I both have. And I said, look, this is a companion piece to that piece that, and Julie's showing it and she has it framed, and oh, I like that too. So we just, there was no good morning, hey, how you doing? Barely a come on in the house. It was come look at this. So anyway, we wait. My friend Dawn arrived. We take off to Lexington. We stitched for a while, and I worked on my Speak to the Earth piece. And I have gotten some done this week. So I think since you last saw it, I finished this bush, and I have worked on these two little guys and finished the border out to the edge. But I had the deer in. I already had the antlers in from prior, and I started stitching them. Well, I want you to know those antlers were off by a thread, and I had stitched probably half of my deer. That was my goal yesterday when I got there, was to complete that deer while I was there. I ripped out the deer while I was there, as a lot of you saw on Instagram, and thank you for your sympathy comments. But I got no stitching done last night because I had company, and then when they left, I was going through those magazines. So hopefully tonight I'll get the deer, because my goal was originally to finish this weekend. It's not going to happen, but it's looking great. I'm hoping to get it framed and finished soon. what else is going on? On the trip, it was a great trip. Saw a lot of old friends. Hi, Lynn and Jane. Saw a lot of old friends, and of course they're all watching, not all, there are several of them that are watching our Flosstube videos, like Lynn and Jane, and I knew that those two were, but I was amazed at the others that are watching them, being our Stitch friends for years now. It's just great to know that they're watching, so I just want to tell them hi. And so we left the Stitch after a few hours, and we had lunch. Hashtag Tacos for Natasha. If you've not watched one of her latest videos, go watch it. She's hilarious. Her sugar was, I keep telling her, your sugar was low, you were hungry. But we went in search, and we were going to go to a Mexican restaurant, but we decided to go somewhere else. And it's so funny because Tasha didn't eat tacos. We left there and to the needler, and my intentions were to buy nothing because I really do want to do Stitch from Stash, and I really need to do Stitch from Stash. But so already I bought a skein of floss, and I had bought this box of charts, and they had a wall there, and they were dollar patterns, so they were getting rid of patterns for whatever their reasons are. And I'm going to show you the few I bought. I ended up only spending $6 and some change there, which was great. But I bought the stretcher bars that I only bought one pair last time. You need 4, and I bought 2. So I bought the stretcher frames. And I bought this. Keep in mind these patterns were $1. So this is Shakespeare's Peddler. And I think too, while I honed in on this, if you've not been watching Jen's Stitch Niche, she's great, and Teresa of Shakespeare's Peddler, her most recent video, Jen's video, Teresa is there with her, so go check that out. She's got great videos. I binge watched them all this week. If you're not watching her, you should. So anyway, so I picked up this, the Angry Birds. And this one is really cute. It would make a great wall hanging, and it's a bent creep, and I think it's called Uber Christmas Tree, but at the bottom it said that tree's not big, it's Uber. But it comes with little bells for the elves' hats, which I think is really cute. This one I have been going back and forth about for a while. Do I like it? Do I not? It's in my mind it's similar to the Bird Keeper by Good Housewife, but I said at $1 she's mine. So I brought home Miss Pearson from Carriage House Samplings. She's quirky, she's odd. There's something about that blue eyeshadow on her eyes. It's not about the bird nest in her head. It is her dress all the way up to her chin, and that blue eyeshadow. So she's home with me now. And then I bought this one. My love affair this year has been for Homespun Elegance. Last year it was for Heartstring Samplery. This year it's for Homespun Elegance, and I really like this one right here. But I like this color. So those were my purchases yesterday. We left the shop. My friend Dawn is from Kansas. Her military husband, that's how she ended up here. We've been friends for years. Anyway, I have to give her, not an apology, but say thanks publicly. She has always liked to junk. She is the reason that I junk. She has been junking for years, and I can remember when we were in our 20s, our mid-20s, and I would say, she'd say, come on, let's go. And I would be that friend that would walk through really fast like a husband. Walk through really fast, and I'm standing at the door waiting on her. Well, of course, she loves what she's doing. And, you know, I never complained, but if I was given if she ever asked, do you want to do this, I would say no. I don't want anybody else's junk. My, oh my, how things have changed. Every time we are junking, she reminds me of that 20-something-year-old Lori that doesn't want to go junking because she doesn't want anybody else's junk. That's what we ended up doing yesterday. And Natasha knew this great spot. It was a 2-story place. It was amazing. I didn't buy a thing. But once again, I can do that. I can do that. My disease hit me again, and that is why I'm so glad I have a cell phone, because I snap pictures of all kind of things that I can do that. I can do that. So that was my thing. I didn't buy anything there, but I can do that. So that's what we did yesterday. It was a great day. It was, once again, it was Natasha, Yvonne, my friend Dawn, and myself. And I love days like that. You just kind of have an idea what you're going to do, but nothing specific, and you're really just there for the company. It doesn't matter where you're going and what you're doing, really. It doesn't. It's the laughs and the sharing and girlfriends. They really are important. Like family, they're going to get on your nerves, or you're going to have a spat, or you're going to call them because you're having a bad day. And I love my husband dearly, and he is my best friend. But girlfriends, they understand on a whole different level. Love my girlfriends. What else? My giveaway. I did the random generator first thing this morning. And I've already commented to her on my video before last. I don't know what the numbers are. It's the name of the person who won the giveaway is the Kibblers. The Kibblers. So thank you so much for all those that entered. I do appreciate it. And the Kibblers, if you will shoot me a message here on YouTube, on Instagram, or Facebook, with your address, I will get them out to you by the end of the week. And a few of you did comment and ask for the little yellow sunflower for the coaster. I did have more than that requested more than the amount that I actually had, so I'm thankful for that. So I will be getting those out sometime this week and contacting those that were the first ones to speak up. And let me look at my notes real quick. I really need to take notes because some of you have asked, I did get Earth Dancer. That was something else that blew my mind from a more recent video. When I called it a Stitcher's SOS. I'm looking for this pattern. Can you help me? I got so many comments, offers to help. I found it here. Here's a link. You might want to check with this shop. They don't have a website, but here's their number. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. I do want to discuss that a little bit in that before putting that out there, I had been online looking for the pattern. Everywhere I looked, even though it was listed, it really wasn't in stock. So there were some suggestions made of different shops or websites that had been found that some of you had mentioned, and when I contacted them, it's the same thing. So if you are a shop owner and you have a website, it's important to keep that updated. I know that in the whole scheme of things as a business, as running, not my business, but running a business, I know how hectic a day could be, but it was 4 shops that had it listed that I paid for it to be either refunded the money or sending an email inquiring and not getting a message. That was not one of the 4. But that pattern was listed, and it is not, they did not have it for sale. So and on one site I actually requested 2 because I'm on there, and I order Earth Dancer, and there's another lavender lace I had been wanting but hadn't seen in a while, and it was out of stock too. So there was 2 patterns on that particular website. So I was real disappointed with that. There were a couple of shops I know that I had called that had that piece hanging, and they didn't have it in stock. So anyway, if you're a shop owner, just think on that. You know, you really are. If you've got it hanging, you're advertising that it's in stock. Maybe put a sign on it saying no longer in print, or out of print. But it was disappointing. But what was very positive, and I'm thankful for, is the pattern that I got in the mail. Thanks, Fawn. I appreciate it. I also got a pattern in the mail from Diana. She sent me a pattern. She contacted me when I showed my quilt squares that I had picked up at the thrift shop. And she had a quilt book of, not a quilt book, a cross-stitch quilt square pattern book. I didn't bring it upstairs with me, so I'm sorry I can't show you. Maybe I'll show it on the next video. But she was kind enough to send that to me in the mail. She had already stitched it years ago, had changed a couple color combination, and thought I might like to have it. So the love and kindness of you all out there in Flosstube world is wonderful. So thank you all so very much. I will pay your kindness forward, because that's important too, that kindness doesn't stop here, and I don't want it to stop here. So I appreciate that. One last thing, and I'm going to pan the camera down. Hey, shout out to Jimmy Flosstube. Some of you wanted to see this. You saw the top of this on my last video. I am a fan. I am a fan of both him and his wife. So I believe, don't shoot me, Emily, if I'm wrong, but I believe she mentioned in one of her, was it her last video, the video before, if you were interested in a shirt like this, just to message her there. She's trying to convince Jimmy, I think, of that we do get it, and we do appreciate what he is offering to us as well, as far as his humor, and that he gets us through his love for Emily and his support of her. He gets us. So if you're interested in having a Jimmy Flosstube shirt, I think this is going to be my video shirt from now on. I'm going to pop it on every time I do a video. Anyway, just let them know. And I want to wish everyone a very good weekend. I'm going to finish up that chest of drawer. Hopefully next week you will see a finish on that Speak to the Earth piece. Have a great week. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.